if people do want to travel, but you have
Let me tell you,
families where
you won't
some
be
people
flying
have had
anywhere.
one
You won't be flying anywhere without a
and
passport.
have had two.
You will not be leaving this country without a passport. I can
I know,
guarantee it.
but did you hear what I said?
Yes.
What did I say?
I can't remember.
Exactly. The issue is going to be if some people in a group have had one and therefore do not qualify for the passport, and others have had two.
I think you should have 2 jabs and you don't travel until you...
Hello, my name is the Chocolate Nubian. I am very happy to be here. I want to talk to you about what is going on in the world. Yeah, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new channel. This is yours truly, the Chocolate Nubian, aka the Esoteric Noetic, but you probably noticed that the name of this channel is the Exoteric Noetic, making reference to the fact that I'm going to be speaking about this stuff in a more public nature. I'm going to be talking about things that are more palatable to the mainstream, palatable to YouTube's censorship standards. It seems like YouTube doesn't like freedom of speech too much, don't like me questioning their science, or just saying anything that may shine light on what's actually going on. So they're giving me a second strike on my main channel, The Crystal Journey, which you can check out. But I'm going to be leaving that channel more for inspirational material, interviews, and if you want to check out the Odyssey version of that, got to check out Odyssey. That's where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be the new YouTube, where we're not going to have this censorship. But anyway, if you want to check out that channel for more of the esoteric knowledge, what's really going down, none of this mainstream BS, please be sure to do so. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about what's going on in the world right now. In 2021, it's been about a little over a year now, I guess, almost a year since we started the lockdowns, but a little over a year since we've been running with the pandemic, right? And where are we? Where are we? We are in a new world, a brave new world, where we are actually having the conversation on whether or not we will be able to leave our countries now. Unless, of course, we get a boom shakalaka. Now, I don't know about you, but if someone had told me a little over a year ago that I would be facing having to decide whether or not I either stay in my country permanently or in order to leave and travel, I have to get a boom shakalaka, I'd be saying, well, that seems a little kind of tyrannical. I mean, maybe something like that would happen in a place like the United States, you know? But not here in True Blue Australia, mate. No, mate. Maybe it would happen in a place like Africa. But no, not here in True Blue Australia, mate. But it's happening everywhere. It's happening in the United States, London, Australia, mate. All around the world, really. This is the new standard. Unless, of course, you wear a mask. And look, first it was just a mask, right? It's just a mask. And of course, it would make sense that if you weren't allowed into establishments, allowed out in public, weren't allowed to do X and Y, unless, of course, you wear a mask, it made sense that they were going to do the same thing in regards to the boom shakalaka. That's why so many of us were very much against the mask. One, we realized it was an invasion of our God-given rights, our freedoms, which actually still has significance. Like the idea that you actually have a right to do what you want, provided you are not harming anyone else. The idea of freedom of movement, freedom of speech, the basis of the Western civilization. Like a lot of people actually believe in that, but for some reason we have moved into this world now where even the very notion of human rights is being strawman. And people are saying, oh, look, mate, it's not against human rights. Amnesty International, they're saying that this is completely on the level, mate. These restrictions by the Dan Andrews government, ScoMo, they're in line with human rights. They've obfuscated the very definition to allow this kind of stuff, which is the very antithesis of human rights. The fact that a government can force you to get boom shakalaka'd should send a chill up everyone's spine, everyone that believes in justice, natural justice. But this is where we are, 2021. the government is now going to deny you from leaving the country. And it's all in the name of the science. You crazy conspiracy theorists, you don't trust the science, do you? And they've done the same thing with human rights. They're doing that to the science. The science is no longer about the scientific method, a process that aims to determine the reality, that has its default position to be constantly questioning its default position, and has the scientific community debate to try to discern what is real and what is not. Now we're talking about science within the realm of evidence. And more often than not, it's evidence that has been backed by funding from certain powerful establishments, and arrived at a verdict. And if you question that science, you're called a conspiracy theorist. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is not science. That is scientism. That is the religion that the creators of the scientific method, the creator of the scientific method, Sir Francis Bacon, tried to move away from. Now, granted, he was a religious man and believed that there were principles that govern this reality. His idea was that, he was quoted as saying, a little bit of science will take you to atheism. A bit more science will take you to an understanding of God. Now, this was someone that had his religious beliefs, no doubt, but went about creating a system to try to bring him closer to the truth and realizing that we are governed by certain laws within this universe. One of which is the natural law, natural justice, that regardless of what you want in society, you do not have a right to force people through the use of violence, fraud, violent coercion to achieve ends. And this has been the theme throughout all of history, that there are some people that are advocating for more censorship, advocating for more control, believe that the government, the priesthood, whatever establishment it may have been at the time, have the right to circumvent your unalienable rights, to take away your choice and to control you in order to bring about a better society, bring about more safety. It's always been a different threat, but the argument has always been the same. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're at a point now where we literally cannot leave our country. It looks like it's headed towards that anyway. If it may not be the case in your country right now, you'll find that very soon it may be a case where you cannot leave your country unless, of course, you get a boom shakalaka. Unless, of course, you allow the state to have its way with you. Now, of course, I'm not going to get into the efficacy of any of these boom shakalakas, but I am going to say that this should be a question that is on everyone's mind right now. Do you want to live in a world where you are controlled by fear, where you have to question whether or not someone around the corner has been infected, therefore you deem it necessary to restrict them? You will always find in that situation a justification for denying someone their unalienable rights. They look a bit too dangerous. Whether it's the color of their skin, or I don't know about him, he looks dark and dangerous. I just don't trust him. Or whether it's the fact that perhaps they're not wearing enough masks. I mean, now we're discussing whether or not whether or not someone has been boom shakalaka before they can go on a plane, but whether or not they've had 1 or 2 doses. Oh, look, I just don't think he's boom shakalaka enough. Now we're discussing whether or not perhaps someone has been in a country that has a higher rate of infections, and that being the basis of whether or not we allow them to freely move around. And this is the model. This is the Human Rights 2.0 model. The model that circumvents natural rights with, oh, it's for your safety. We have to look at the science, the risks, to determine whether or not we allow human beings to decide how they live their own lives. Is this the kind of world that you want to live in? Or do you want to live in a world where you respect the natural rights of individuals? Because this is what it fundamentally comes down to. It's not about the science. It's not about your beliefs. It is about your understanding of this golden rule that has been used to govern society, civilizations, or whether or not we fall victim to this fear mentality, where we allow the unknown, the fear of what might happen, to affect everything that we do. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, brothers and sisters around the world, stay tuned. Be sure to check the links below. Be sure to check out my Telegram group if you want to stay in touch with like-minded minds that love freedom, love truth, educating themselves about what is going on in the world. Sure to check out my Odyssey, also known as Library, if you want to get the real esoteric hidden information, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of people, I just want to address this, a lot of people say that freedom is everywhere, truth is everywhere. Obviously, you cannot have truth when there is no freedom to discover the truth, when the truth has been censored. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, truth has never been something that was easy to come by. Whether it is this age or whether it was thousands of years ago, people that disseminated the truth would be burned at the stake. What is this, witch? Speaking of this knowledge, this is heresy. These medicines that you speak of, your concoctions, it is witchery. You must be burnt. Whether it was the ancient Gnostics, the Albigensians, the Cathars, whether it was the founding fathers who occulted their information, many of these revolutionary figures that paved the way to the Western civilization were deemed of as being heretical with their ideas because they believed in science, because they believed in understanding. And it was not easy for them to acquire this information for the same reasons that we are experiencing now. People often do not want the truth. People want to have their biases affirmed. But this is not an easy journey, ladies and gentlemen. We definitely have a spiritual war ahead of us, perhaps even a full-right war on the physical Euclidean meat space at some point. But definitely, first and foremost, this is an information war. So I invite you all to share this video if you resonate with it, or if you just want to have some smiles and giggles every once in a while. This is going to be my new channel for this kind of content. But bear in mind that there is no way out of this mess other than by trying to be the change that we want to see in the world. The only way out, ladies and gentlemen, is to go within, to look into yourself, to try to understand what's really going on. Ask yourself the tough questions. Until next time, peace out, keep it real, don't drive and text. Suri namaskara, namaste, peace be upon your butt cheeks. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community? There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.